Hey, thanks for checking out our video at docu-mental. So what we're going to display here is a spreadsheet to help you track funds, sales. In this case, we're doing sponsors for a collective organization. Um, in this case, we're doing a select team dynasty type deal. Um, so on this first sheet, we've got uh, everyone or all the different divisions listed. So we've got a 10U, an 11U, and a 12U team listed. We have our formulas to bring up the total numbers of sponsors that have been given, and we have a value for the amount of funds raised. And then just for the collective organization, we wanted to grab a quick total for the organization period. On each one of the sheets, we've got each team listed with the team rosters identified. Okay, they're all set up the same way, so I can do a quick grab on my first sheet for these totals. So let's look at the 10U team roster. We've got dates, players, the amount of money that has been sponsored, and who the sponsor is going to be. Up at the top, we have our totals. So the totals in this case, we're using the count A function, and what that's going to do is tell us how many entries we have for this particular team. And then the totals on money is just the simple sums formula. That's going to tell us how much funds have been collected for our team. Another cool feature that we did is we added this drop-down menu. The drop-down menu is pulling directly from our link here. And I'll show you how to create all these within this video. And we also have another pie chart that's going to populate similar to the last video that we made. So let's start with the first entry. So we just need a date. Any date's fine. Choose Control instead of Shift. And then I need a player. So in order to get the drop-down menu, I first need to have my team roster. It can be as many people as you want, as few people as you want. It can be on this sheet, or it can be on a completely different sheet with a roster of everyone. So let's look at it just on this sheet. So I'm going to come into this blank cell, and I'll show you how to create this drop-down. I can take, let's start here. So we're going to go over to the Data tab. We're going to go to Data Tools, and we're going to go click on Data Validation. On the settings, on Allow, we're going to drop this down to List. And for Source, we'll click this button, and we'll highlight everyone's names. You see it says G2 through G13. I'm going to press Enter, and then OK. Make sure this in-cell drop-down is selected, and ignore blanks are also selected. I'm going to hit OK. So now I have my drop-down. Everybody's name, from Josh Reddick all the way up to Alex Bregman. Now I'll delete this one. Shift cells up. I can select a range of cells, which I did in this case. Select a range of cells, go back to Data Validation, Settings, Allow List, Source, select everything, press Enter, press OK. Now that has been applied to each one of the cells that I had selected. So we'll delete those so they're not in here anymore. Shift cells up. Now, if I wanted to grab a drop down from a different sheet, all I'd have to do is data validation, list, source. Now I'm going to click on my sheet that I'm wanting to grab, and I'll highlight this team roster. So you can see it goes to the 12U sheet, and then I'm looking at the G12 through G13 cells. If I press enter, press OK, it brings me back to my 10U sheet, and my drop down now references the 12U team roster. We'll clear that out of here. Shift cells up. Okay. So let's select Alex Bregman. Let's say he gets a $250 sponsor from, we'll go Nike. Do another entry. Let's do Jose Altuve. It's a $5,000 sponsor from, let's say, Adidas. And throw one more in there. Let's grab Yuli. He gets a $2,500 sponsorship from McDonald's. So next to each one of their names, we use the special sum if function in order to make sure it grabs everybody's name and calculates only their totals. So I'll throw another one in there for let's go Alex Bregman. I don't have to use the drop down here. If I get somebody else, I can specify a name just by typing it. We'll go Michael. I lied. I did that on purpose. So if you have a drop down, you have to use one of the drop downs on there. If I don't want to use the drop down to type the name, I can start typing. Let's pull somebody who's not up there already. And it'll recognize it because his name is in the drop down. So we'll go to Alex Bregman. Let's give him, let's say a $4,000 sponsorship. And he gets his sponsors from Popeyes. So whenever you see these number signs all in a row, it just means your cell's not big enough. So double click on that, we get more room. Our pie chart populates. Alex Bregman's value pops from 2,500 and now includes the 4,500 total. For the totals here on how many sponsors we've gotten, we're using the count A formula, and then it's asking what cells are you wanting to count. So let me delete this out of here. So I do equals count A, and then open parentheses. Now it's asking for my cells that I want to arrange. I can either highlight them and select them like this, or I can come in here and change this to say 100 cells, or to the B100 cell, and then I need to close parentheses, enter. So it'll populate 4, and every time I add a new value in, a new person, a new sponsor, it'll calculate, or it'll count how many entries have been made. The sum is just a simple sums formula, just for the cells with a value. I don't care who the sponsors are. If you want to do the total, I'll show you in a later video how to do the totals based on the text. For the values here, we're using a sum if formula. So what we're saying is, I want to calculate the sum if the column BB is equal to, with that comma, it's asking for the criteria, so equal to cell G2. So H2 and G2 will align. H3 and G3 will align. So sum if the cell or the value in the B column is equal to G2, and then what I want you to calculate is anything in the C column. And it's the same with these. The only thing that changes on these is the G number. So I have G2 in here, so these are all Alex Bregman. G3 in here, so all these are Justin Verlanders. You want to make sure that you got those cells aligned properly, or else you're going to get the total for somebody else put into the wrong spot. So just show you one more time. I'm going to delete this out of here. So start with equals, sum if, open parentheses, it's asking me for my range, and I just selected the column, comma, my criteria is, so I want that sum to be equal to what? I want it to be equal, or I want that value in the B column to be equal to what? I want it to be equal to Alex Bregman, and then comma, and then what am I adding? You're going to add everything that would be in the C column where Alex Bregman is in the B column. And that's it. You can retype it for each one, or a nice simple trick is just grab this little box down here, drag it right, it's a left click if you're right-handed, left click on your mouse, click, drag, and drop. And so it pulls that G13, pulls the G12, so it'll automatically do that for you. So every team is set up the same way with the same data validation, the same formulas. Everything's set up the same. So I did one with all the formulas, then I copied it over, move or copy, move to end, create copy, rename it to 13U, call it whatever you want. Call this one Yankees. And you come in here, so all my values are still there. This is still looking for the information in this column. So I can type Babe Ruth. I can type, I don't know, any one of the guys. We'll throw so all of these, the Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, so it automatically knows that that's where it needs to go. So once I get all of these sheets lined up, the only thing I'll need to do is come back in here to the first sheet, and I need to add a new column for my 13U Yankees Legacy. So I'll insert, I can do this, I can copy this, because it'll pull my formulas. Right click on line 5, insert copied cells, rename this 13U, Yankees legacy. So if you notice in this formula here, it's still looking at the 12U sheet. So that's not what I'm wanting. So I'm gonna press equals, click on my 13U Yankees. I'll click on my cell B2 or B1, sorry, and press enter. And I'll do the same thing for total funds. Equals 13U, and then the total funds, enter. And then you can reformat this the way you want. No border. Oh, that's funny. There it goes. Okay, and that starts to populate. So I'll throw some values in here just quickly so that way you can see. So when I come back to my first sheet, it gives me the pie chart. The only thing that this pie chart's missing, as you can see, is it's missing my 13U team. So if I right click on my pie chart, select data, so it's missing the whole row. So like always, if you have any questions or comments, place your comments down below. Subscribe to our channel so that way you can get the latest information. And if you want this spreadsheet, email us at docu_mental@hotmail.com. Thank you.